Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch story.
Yes. Yeah, the Senate has launched an investigation into the alleged importation of hazardous petroleum products, particularly diesel, into the country. I'd read, I think it was last week or so, where I talked about, these conversations. I think it was from the Dangote refinery. Some of their staff, they were talking about these diesels that were being imported, and they had some cancerous elements, and we use them here. So the Senate is saying that they're going to, probe that, and they have set up a panel, a 15-member ad hoc committee, to do a comprehensive investigation into the sector, and they are expecting the committee to report in 3 weeks. They also said that they received reports that 12 diesel cargoes carrying a total of 660 KT of diesel. So I checked up KT, it says thousands of tons of diesel were exported by refineries to offshore Lomé, Togo, and further distribution to West African markets, primarily Nigeria. Despite the substandard nature of the diesel, it still finds its way into Nigerian markets. So it's good that, that they're investigating it. But I remember then when I read it, I was saying, why are we waiting until this for an employee or a part to talk about it before we hear our government investigate it? Yeah. But it's good that we have started the investigation. And hopefully in 3 weeks, we'll hear what they find out.
So I have the major headline. They said business and commercial activities were grounded on Wednesday, that was yesterday, following a 10-hour downpour in many parts of Lagos and Ogun states. They said the resulting flooding brought down a 2-story building in the Mushin area of Lagos. It grounded vehicular movement on the roads, overwhelmed thousands of residents, and some students were not able to go to school in some parts of the state. Though the Lagos state government said the rain lasted for about 9 hours in some parts of the state, it started at midnight and it did not subside until noon, making it about 12 hours. So they mentioned some of the places that had issues: Bega, Ikeja, Ogba. Some parts, the rain also lasted for 10 hours there. Some people also visited flooded areas such as Iyanoworo, Agege, Ijegun, Isheri, Osun, Bagada, Lagos Island, Lagos State, and everywhere was basically flooded. They said there were also floods in places like Eredo, Bogije, Ekpe, Shongotedo, that's down the Ibejuleki, Awoyaya area, Labora and Abidjan as well. And the Ijebu Ode and Ogun State observed their major roads were submerged, making them impassable, leaving passengers stranded. There were cars also that were stranded on the roads. And the heavy showers which started, they said it was blamed for a collapse of a 2-story building in Cameroon Road in Mushin area of Lagos. There was also another building that was just being constructed that collapsed. But however, people were being rescued there, and no lives were lost as a result of this. So we just need to follow up on the damages that the rain has done so far, and also warning our people to, because there was a viral video yesterday where somebody was caught going to trash their bin in the flood. Yeah. And then block the roads again, and we start complaining that flood is entering. We need to just be responsible.
I took a video of the canal that runs across the Western Avenue. The amount of styrofoam and plastic
that people have dumped there.
Yes.
Okay, Daily Sun very quickly. NEMA issues flooding alert in 31 states. Southeast senators meet AGF, begs Tinubu for Nnamdi Kanu's release. Terrorist attacks. Senate identifies Lake Chad, Sambisa as Boko Haram hotspots. Flood submerges Lagos, disrupts business activities. Kaduna, group petitions EFCC, ICPC over alleged 423 billion naira fraud against ex-governor El Rufai. Borno bombings, Khan expresses worry over resurgence of suicide bombing. And petroleum producers raise the alarm on crude oil importation. Okay. Let me take Southeast very quickly, because I always follow up on that story. So the senators from the Southeast region of Nigeria have made a passionate appeal to President Bola Tinubu to order the release of the IPOB leader, that's Nnamdi Kanu, Indigenous People of Biafra. The senators led by Abia, the Abia State Deputy Governor, Eyinanya, Abaribe, and Victor Ome went to see the Chief Justice, the Attorney General of the Federation, actually, Prince Lateef Fagbemi, to deliver a letter for the president. They appealed that the president releases him, and they had a press briefing after the presentation. They said that Kanu is released, social and economic activities within the region would remain, and would, if he's not released, economic activities within that region would remain and be stagnant. And it's important that he considers releasing him with immediate effect as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I have the Independent Petroleum Producers Group forecasting doom. They're saying that if except urgent steps are taken, we stand to lose our position as top crude oil producers in the world by becoming a net importer of the same commodity that we are abundantly blessed with. The group said that in the nearest future, we seem to will be unable to meet our domestic refinery crude demand, and because of that situation presently, the Dangote refinery is importing, has been forced to meet its 650,000 crude per day crude need by importing from the United States. They are saying, according to them, the chairman, Mr. Abdrazak Issa, said this yesterday at the ongoing Nigeria Oil and Gas 2024 Energy Week in Abuja, and said this trend is frightening. He said our overall installed domestic refinery capacity is closing at 1.2 million barrels per day, and we may soon outstrip that ourselves in the position where we are unable to meet our local refinery demand and will become a net importer, God forbid. He says that there will not be, he's not unconnected with the frustration currently faced by the Dangote refinery. And just talking about it, I was just in my head thinking that we too, we have been exporting our crude since and buying our petrol. So if we import crude and we sell petrol in dollars, maybe that's a profitable. But I let the experts.
What we now do with the crude?
I will let the experts
Anyway,
advise.
Just as an addendum to the story I took earlier, so it's important for me to state very clearly that Abaribe also disclosed that he has had a meeting with
Senator
Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and he has agreed to abide with every condition given for his release. So hopefully that should...
You remember Senator Abaribe stood
So I have a
shorty
quick
for
story.
him when he jumped bail.
Yes, in the sun, yes. So the Christian Association of Nigeria registered its concerns over the resurgence of suicide bombing in Nigeria. They are highlighting the threats it might pose to the lives and livelihood of Nigerians. And CAN said its concerns were due to the recent suicide attacks in Goza, Borno State, which claimed numerous lives and injured many others. Its president, Archbishop Daniel Oko, made a statement yesterday and said that the senseless act of violence was a reminder of the evil that the terrorism represents and the need for collective action against it. And he says the attacks in Goza are a stark reminder that terrorism is a threat to our collective humanity. Innocent lives were lost, and it could have been anyone, a family member, a friend, a neighbor. We must all come together to condemn the evil and support the efforts of our security agencies to keep us safe. And, you know, just reminded me of how we had stopped hearing about suicide bombers, and all of a sudden we're beginning, it's trickling in again. If the government doesn't do anything to, you know, stop this, we may now go back to where we're coming from, and may affliction never rise up a second time.
Yeah, and so on the back of that, the Senate had, you know, a sitting yesterday, and security came up. And they were actually talking about this particular incident that happened. They said the Senate has identified 3 major hotspots in Borno State as enclaves for Boko Haram fighters. They revealed that the suicide bomber who attempted to detonate the 5th explosive was arrested by the GTF military. The 4th suicide bomber, in an attempt to evade arrest, detonated an explosive, and that one killed a soldier from the southern part of the country. They said last Saturday, teenage female suicide bombers killed over 32 in Goza, the story you just mentioned, where, you know, many were injured. And we had some stakeholders from Borno State, that's Indume and Mohammed Monguno, who are from Borno State. They're talking about, you know, the way forward and how to tackle these terrorist attacks. Indume even said that one of the suicide bombers that was arrested, you know, when asked why she was doing it, she said she was ready to die and go to heaven. So he said the indoctrination is real. Deep. So this is how they think, you know, they don't see it as something that they're doing bad. So on the one hand, really, we need to be fighting it, you know, the indoctrination. And then they're also asking for modern technology in the fight against this, that this would help.
Okay. A final paper, Nigerian Tribune. Only fiscal federalism will enable governors pay workers living wages. Ekiti governor. Oyo CP Miss Shaun of Ogbomoso Chief Imam over feud. Government invade Benue community, kills 11 persons. Uniben students protest over outage, block Benin Lagos expressway. and the FG to transform Nigeria into a 1 trillion economy by 2030. Okay, story very quickly.
Okay, the Oyo CP. So we remember the Shon and the Shon of Ogumosho and the chief imam of Ogumosho having a clash over his not seeking permission to go for Hajj. But the commissioner of police in Oyo State, Ayodele Shonubi, has started to broker peace between the chief, the Oba Gandhi Afolabi Olaoye, the Orume Gege, the third, and the chief imam Agba of Ogumosho, Yunus Tella Olushino Ailara, and hopefully will be able to resolve the matter. But the Tribune then goes back and gives us an account of how all of this started. The chief imam had been traditionally brought in because the king usually, the Oba, the Shawun usually appoints chief imam Agba for Ogumosho land by the late Shawun. Now the new Shawun, I don't know what the issue was, thought it was unwise of him to go on the Hajj without his permission. And I don't even think that, I think those conflicts should be sorted out. The Hajj, you only require God's calling, no permission to go for the Hajj of any human. I don't understand how this was, but traditionally it's required by the stool to say, okay, you can travel. And so they had this back and forth where this one said, it was not your own Shawun that made me king, and I don't have to go. So I think it should be religiously handled. I personally, as a Muslim, do not require permission of any human to serve
go
God.
for Hajj.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have to wrap up. Final story. The Ekiti State governor is also weighing in on the issue of minimum wage and said that only fiscal federalism that can culminate in the ability to capacity for all the states to be able to pay minimum wage. That as we are right now, as the states are, they are incapable of paying or even sustaining the minimum wage that is currently being debated upon. He's saying that he was speaking at a delegates conference, and they was also asking that, listen, there's lots of land provided for you in Ekiti, that those of you civil servants who are workers who are interested in getting lands, that the state could afford, that they will be willing to eventually give people land to be able to go into farming. Agriculture obviously is going to be the way to help to offset some of the money that, some of the revenue wages that we're expecting. No governor wants to retrench its staff. If there is a minimum wage today without a concurrent increment in what we're earning, no governor can sustain it. So the governor used the opportunity to call on Ekiti State residents to embrace agriculture, and they have declared over 2,000 hectares of land to be allocated free of charge to interested Ekiti residents.
Amazing.
So I'm happy that the governors are having serious conversations concerning this minimum wage issue, because it's
now
really
they're getting creative.
They're getting, God bless you, they're getting creative.
They now understand,
ideas,
yes, that they have to work.
That is imperative for them to get creative. That's all we can take on Front Page Review this morning. When we come back, it's our Thursday. We'll continue with the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.